Welcome back to Beards and Brews. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, smack that bell so you know when we have another one brewing. This week's movie is going to be The Rock. Gentlemen, what'd you think?
This is a Michael Bay film that I didn't know was by Michael Bay, honestly, but having just watched it for the first time, definitely checks out as a Michael Bay movie.
Oh, for sure.
Uh,
Yeah, it's shot like porn the entire way through.
the Alcatraz Job by John Woo, sir,
Just
is what this
a
movie
job,
is.
everything.
Okay, I'll tell you something. I had never seen this movie before, and I had a definite misconception about what this movie was going to be about. You hear The Rock, you know it's about Alcatraz. I straight up thought that we were going to be escaping from Alcatraz. That's not the case at all. You're going in.
Absolutely. This movie is 100% subversion of expectation. I'm sure that's exactly what Michael Bay was trying to do.
The opening to this film was like almost spot on Apocalypse Now vibe.
Straight up, yep, 100%.
I get that, yeah, for sure. Like it almost feels like just non sequitur, a whole other different fucking movie. Like, we see Ed Harris and we get a little bit of his backstory. He's this general and he's been working for the military forever and everybody under him has been like killed. But like the stick in his ass is like none of these families of the soldiers were ever compensated for the loss of their loved ones and stuff. So it sends him on this like ridiculous tirade where the rest of the movie is just hung on.
Yeah, I guess he was like the leader of several secret missions with these Marines, and I guess because they were secret missions, their families didn't really get to know what happened to them, or like what they weren't compensated in the way that like a normal fallen soldier would be compensated. And like the real opening of the movie is you see him at like a soldier's headstone. He's shedding a tear, kissing the headstone there.
That's his wife, by the way. Which
I just
they
thought it
kinda
was
ma-
another soldier.
that kind of makes you think, like, was his wife under his command and she just got?
Steven Seagal killed her.
Oh no, she got out of there in the worst possible way.
Exactly.
What-
They had her tied up using that fucking truth serum. She wouldn't give him no answers.
And then he just like tossed her with the flip of his wrist, and she does like a full 360, like
Done
over
for.
his shoulder. Yeah.
Yeah, and do like some
Dead though.
punji sticks down in the fucking ground.
Jesus, no wonder he was so mad.
Oh, but this escalates so quickly.
Very
They are
quickly.
so ready already, and they're going to the military base, and Ed Harris is already a big shot. I was in NAM. And
Yeah.
they do, like, you want to talk about movie tropes. They fucking have harpoon spear guns that stick into concrete, for God's sakes.
The very next scene that you see is like all the dudes just like going in gung ho, zip lining in, and they've got like, I don't know, gas bombs or whatever. They're just wrecking up shit, and I don't really know what's going on at this point. I figured out a little bit later, but to just jump straight into this movie, I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
So Ed Harris's plan is to just like kidnap all these tourists on the rock, in the middle of San Francisco. But like he just needs these like poison rockets or whatever, and he basically just walks into this military base, be like, "Hey, I'm a general. Can I come in?" They're like, "Yeah, man, you're the fucking best. Get in there." And he just waltzes right back out with them, and they're just like, "Cheerio, soldiers," and just leave.
He's
Like,
so nonchalant about killing all these guards in the start, but 30 minutes later in the movie, he's like, "We can't just be killing these people. Stand down, soldier." It makes no sense.
Yeah, it is a little bit difficult to get a true grasp on exactly who Ed Harris's character is, just because of like what we see in the middle, or just because of what we see at the very beginning, and then what we see immediately after, and then basically who he is for the whole rest of the movie. You're just like, who is this guy? Is he bipolar? Does he have like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't put consistency as an adjective for Michael Bay, like ever. Like it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Like what pulls this movie together and makes it entertaining are just the actors having a blast. Because starring Nick Cage, starring Sean Connery, they're having a good time.
Oh,
This-
100%. And the special effects for some of this shit is really cool. Whenever they're stealing the toxic missiles, they drop one of the little green Adel beads, and it busts against the wall. And the dude straight up turns into the toxic guy from RoboCop.
Oh yeah, for sure. He gets all melty like immediately. And I do like that little bit of like affirmative action where they just like seal him off immediately, even though he's probably been a part of the team for, I don't know, 20 years. Like, they know his name, his
Affirmative
family, his
action.
wife's name.
I don't think that means
Whatever.
what you think it means. We
I'm
can
gonna
keep it,
leave
but
it in,
yeah.
and then No, I'll leave it in. Then I'll just await the comments. That's what it's
Okay.
about. Executive action, maybe. I don't know.
Now we cut to our boy Castor Troy.
Oh my goodness, Nick Cage trying to play like an alpha nerd or some type of character. You know, it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, like to start out with, I wasn't really sure what really Nick Cage's role was. Like, because he's still acting like Nick Cage, but he's in here with all these science bitches.
That's very true. What I can gather is like he's basically there, so of course the plot can happen, but he's there to kind of like react to what's around him because everybody else is either in the military or Sean Connery being Sean Connery.
Yeah, like, and I don't even really understand what's going on in this first, like, introductory scene with him. There's some nudie magazines, and then they find this baby doll, and they're just like, oh, it's just a baby doll, you know, nothing to be alarmed about. Oh my god, it's spewing sarin gas.
That's just terrorism. It happens.
Can we just stop right there and discuss this? Okay, they are already aware that this box has chemicals and deadly shit. It's a threat. The dude picks up one of the threat objects and just starts shaking it violently, going, oh, look at me, I'm fucking stupid. And then it starts spraying gas, and he's like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen. What the fuck?
I want to say it's the movie's way because it repeats later on about how like Nick Cage is like calm under pressure, like you know he thrives in it. So like as shit's going down, this guy's just like, oh my god, I got it on my fucking glove, it's melting me, oh shit. And Nick Cage is just over there, like, please make it rain on me.
Yeah, and he's like, well, turns out just like the old trope of the car not being able to start in a horror movie, the sprinkler system won't come on. And I like that they tell him, you got to use that gigantic needle full of God only knows what from the fucking dresser drawer that we found and stab that shit into your chest. And both the characters are like, get that stinking shit out of my face.
I love how the movie goes out of its way to show that syringe. Like, it's not even like a medical grade syringe. It's basically just like a turkey baster filled with like piss or something like that.
It's fucking huge.
It's like the ridiculous syringe that they show on like the cover of Reanimator. The needle itself is probably like 6 inches long.
Yeah. Now he does everything that he needs to do. He gets it done. He's a fucking hero. They're like, Nicolas Cage, you're a badass. He's like, yeah, I know. Cut to me playing guitar.
Yeah, I'm going home for the day. See you guys later. I better be getting paid for a full day here. I'm gonna go play guitar shirtless.
Yeah, in his underpants. And they have this, like, I guess, character motivational moment. I don't know. Like, his fiance comes home and she's like, man, boy, I had a hard day. But first, let me hear yours. And he's like, you know, save the world. And I got to come home, play guitar. How was your day? And she's like, pregnant.
No, like, he goes on this, like, you can tell he's had a hard day at work by his tone. He goes on this, like, little bit of a rant about how, like, he almost died today, but of course he had to be, you know, the hero and save everybody. And God, you know, these terrorists and everything, this world is terrible. Bringing a child in this world would be just like a true act of cruelty. Oh, but how was your day? I'm pregnant. Oh, okay.
Yeah, not Gina Gershon just drops that fucking bomb on him like it's nothing.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a better or worse bomb than the one he dealt with like 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Oh, he tries to defuse her.
He's got a clothes hanger and a glove.
Oh no.
But she immediately pops the question and is like, hey, will you marry me? And he's just like, why do we have to, like, have a baby? Why can't we just, like, steal a baby?
Yes. We get treated now to the next bomb of the film, taken to the Rock, where we get a history lesson about Alcatraz, and we learn that everyone who's there is now a hostage, thanks to Ranger Patton Oswalt.
Is that who that was?
It's not Patton Oswalt, but it's fucking Patton Oswalt.
You guys, there's so many people in this movie that I know from exactly one role. Like, so many of these soldiers are just like, you got Lieutenant Candyman, you got Sergeant Dr. Cox.
That's Captain Candyman, bitch!
Captain Candyman, yeah. Yeah.
We salute the rank, not the man.
And then you've got... what's his name from the Green Mile. He's in there too. David Morse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's just character acting.
No, I was actually talking about the John Coffey. Yeah, he plays a sergeant in the Marines.
I'm gonna spit these
Mate.
bees out, boss.
Oh no. Rip in peace.
That's how you take care of enemy forces. Just fucking spit bees, and then like Candyman will control them.
See, they're teaming up. God damn it.
That's an
And
ambitious crossover.
you got this fucking dude that looks like Bill Goldberg, but it's totally not Bill Goldberg. And all I could picture the whole time is Sean Connery drunkenly being like, Bill Goldberg is a Jew.
It is like Bill Goldberg, but it's like Bill Goldberg, and you smushed him a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It turns out these patriots are traitors and such, and Sergeant Kickin' Wing is there. He's gonna make a fucking Skype call, and they're like, "My boys need reparations, or I'm gonna gas you. 1 teaspoon of this shit will melt 8 blocks of California. BX gas."
Yeah, they end up locking all the hostages in the cells at Alcatraz, which is convenient that that's where they are, you know. And they sit back and relax, and is like, "Hey, we got 81 civilians here. We got these VX rockets. We're ready to, kill all of San Francisco if you don't if you don't give my boys what they are due."
And you know what they wanted? They were like, "We're gonna need all the Zatarans."
Ooh.
Oh no. That sounds like pasta.
He's just passed out in the Wendy's drive-thru again.
Where's my Frosty?
Oh, he's just in that he's in that beat up Humvee and everything.
Nicholas, get me a Frosty water in there.
Chocolate only, not that vanilla shit.
You still just come off as Nixon, and I fucking love it.
Yeah. I'm trying to hold it in.
It's all I got.
The government's grand scheme is to break back into the Rock is to basically rehire Sean Connery's character, who's been thrown in jail for 30 years for not giving over the location of this little microfilm or whatever, which apparently holds all the secrets of the United States. Ooh, conspiracy, gay frogs and shit.
Oh man, but you know who comes up with that plan? John Cotter's buddy. He's like, what we need to do is send back a Terminator to get Sean Connery.
Michael Biehn, what a guy. It's actually really cool to see him pop up in movies because he just doesn't. So he's trying real hard. I know that everybody in this movie knows the screenplay is garbage, but he's acting. He is Soldier Man, and he's doing a real good job.
100%.
Don't you mean Soldier Boy?
Oh,
oh yeah, but they want a fucking Terminator. Instead, they get Zardoz.
Yeah, they don't immediately go to Zardoz, to be fair. If their first step is all right, what can we do to counteract these rockets? Can we shoot them down? No. Can we neutralize them? No. Zardoz it is.
Zardoz. Yes, I haven't heard that name in years.
And we get a fucking big old San Francisco tourist ad while the dude from City by the Sea is like, I want a bacon cheeseburger and a blowjob. Gandalf, get out of here.
What?
I don't know, but for some reason in my head, it just turns into a Rice-A-Roni commercial. San Francisco treat.
San Francisco treat, and fucking Gandalf comes walking out of his cell. Sean Connery looks terrible with that ratty hair.
He does.
Oh, dude, that's such a wig. The movie doesn't even try to hide it. It's just is it there?
I thought that was, San Francisco. I thought that was Jerry fucking Garcia coming out.
Oh, going back to, was it the hash burger or whatever?
Yeah, it's just so, stringy, and he's got that ugly... It doesn't even look like Sean Connery. Dude needs a haircut. Thankfully, he gets
looks
it
like
in a little
Lemmy.
bit. Oh, no.
Like Killmeister?
Yeah. The ice
no.
suspense.
I bet you're wondering how I got this fucking thing on my face.
There's this whole thing where they're like, you're going to work for us. And he's like, I'm not, because I'm a Russian submarine commander. And they bring in Nicolas Cage for whatever reason. And he's like, I'm Castor Troy. Let me bargain with you. Get these handcuffs off and get this man a pardon. Here's a quarter. And this is the dumbest shit. He slams his chair on a quarter, and somehow that's magically a lockpick now.
Well, it's not a lockpick. He uses it to cut a hole in the glass so he can elbow through it efficiently. I think the movie's trying to tell us that he's resourceful because he does a little bit of magicry with a bit of rope in a couple minutes, but it's so just dumb.
The line here is what's gold. He scratches the circle, busts it, leans his head in. Warmark, you piece of shit.
That's how he enters every new room, by the way. Like, the first person he sees, they're just a piece of shit.
But it gives you a little indication of who Sean Connery here is and who Nick Cage is too, like as characters. Like the first FBI guy goes in and talks to Sean Connery and is just like, I couldn't get nothing from him. He wouldn't do anything for me. And they send Nick Cage in as like, just bluff, like pretend to be somebody you aren't. And he goes in and is like, yeah, I'm Nick Cage. I'm an FBI guy. And he's like, I want these cuffs off. I want immunity. I want can I have a cup of coffee? And he's like, yeah, do all that. I don't care that the other guy turned you down. Let's get it all.
Yeah, like Nick Cage is definitely wet behind the ears, and Sean Connery is like super confident in his ways because I guess he's been reading philosophy for the past 3 decades, so he's just very, he has his mind worked out.
Now we get treated to a Home Alone shower scene where he MacGyvers some nonsense with some rope and a fresh haircut.
Oh, yeah. Once they settle everything down, they decide we're going to put this guy in a hotel in San Francisco, a nice suite. And he starts showering and there's just rope.
Is that for something? Is that like a shower thing that I'm not aware of?
Is this like a David Carradine kind of thing?
Oh, no.
Make sure you cut me loose after I climax.
Are you telling me the soap comes on the rope?
Used to be you dropped it, you just got raped.
He does bring that up. Unfortunately, it's like, I spent the last 30 years trying not to get bent over in the shower.
But he was in isolation. No one's letting that man shower. He was dingy.
He just looks like Scottish Charles Manson with the long hair. It's probably why.
Fuck, dude, that is perfect.
It's just bad. And like, even the movie spends no time. It's like, yeah, he needs a haircut. So they peel that fucking wig off, and he's just like back to regular Sean Connery.
Ah, yes. I look like I run a league of extraordinary gentlemen.
Yeah, like some of the things that he asks for are pretty entertaining. Like he demands to be in a suit. All right, whatever. Sure, you're 007. You do you.
Yeah, he just wants to be a sharp-dressed man. He just wants to use these people for whatever they got. Because, he knows that they need him. And he's just like, whatever, I'm old, kill me.
And this is where you were talking about the little rope magic with, he's out getting his haircut because he wanted to go outside for his haircut. And like he shoves one of the FBI guys over the balcony, but he ties like a string of rope around his wrist so that he's just like hanging there. And then I don't know, he does this all for a chance to escape. So we have this fucking San Francisco rush, like we have this like San Francisco rush car chase going on over the next 10 minutes, along with like the most proto Pirates of the Caribbean theme that I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, the score of this movie is fantastic. It's so Michael Bay, for lack of a better term. It's just like, it's bombastic, even though what's happening isn't quite as bombastic, but the movie's just like punch you in the face over and over.
Yeah, it is. This is a Hans Zimmer score, so it makes sense that it sounds kind of exactly like Pirates of the Caribbean. But yeah, you're right. The score is great, but doesn't necessarily match the tone of the movie, I feel like.
Well, I mean, what kind of tone are we looking for here? Because this is a man who just threw a man over a balcony with a literal piece of string. Okay? It didn't rip the man's flesh off. It didn't even hurt his arm. He fucking master splintered this man off the roof. Just like he did to Shredder.
Yeah.
And he takes off with literally zero obstacles in his path to get downstairs as he steals a fucking Humvee like it's nothing and just takes off.
Yeah, like a legit Humvee, because this was 1996.
At this point, it got the first legitimate laugh out of me. Like, I got one because Sean Connery was just finding shit to knock over when he was passing through the kitchen. And it just didn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, these poor chefs just spent hours just like making all this shit, and he was just running by, just fuck this in particular, just whatever.
Is that a souffle? Fuck you.
Fuck your salad bar.
That's good. And of course, he does jump in that fella's Humvee, And I guess they have just some like random California character like, oh, don't put a scratch on it or anything, whatever. And he like zooms away with it. Nick Cage follows up shortly with some, was it a Lamborghini or
It's
Ferrari?
a Ferrari, yeah, yep, bright
Ferrari.
yellow, like.
And I gotta ask you guys this. Like, this is really specific, but I couldn't stop noticing Sean Connery's face. This entire car chase was just elated. He was happy to fucking be there. He was smiles ahoy, smashing over shit, running over people, and just destroying San Francisco.
Sean, how you feeling? Ah, my Cialis kicked in.
And I've got another 2.5 hours before I have to contact a doctor.
Oh, Nicolas Cage though is chasing him, and I honestly think he would have done a better job in a speedboat. But can we discuss the amount of fucking bedlam they unleash on this town?
Yeah, like purposely too. Like fucking Sean Connery's just like again, just like in the kitchen, he's trying to knock stuff over to use as obstacles, like the water truck.
Yeah, a
for
fucking
sure.
trolley for God's sakes.
That's what I was going to bring up. A whole ass trolley not only gets upended, but thrown into the air and just decimated on the streets. Just like, okay.
I thought this was supposed to be comical. Like, I really thought that this was like some kind of joke because there's the trolley, fucking Girl Scouts, old people, and the handicapped, followed by a 180 low pan and Nicolas Cage getting onto a dirt bike. I mean, what the fuck?
Dude, it was pretty badass.
This is
And
the
then he, like-
scene where I suddenly knew this was a Michael Bay movie, because you just have like at one point you've got a truck that just careens off the road, does like a barrel roll, and then explodes. All right, we're right at home now.
I mean, what else do trucks do? Whatever.
This is where it gets weird though, because suddenly after all this bedlam, Nicolas Cage is like running in a low crouch. There's some birds flying around, and guess what? Sean Connery's there meeting with his daughter, and she's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm your father."
Nice.
Yeah, this is the first time he's seen his daughter in like 25 years or something, and he doesn't really have a whole lot of like, what's the word? For being chased by the cops and just having that adrenaline rush, he's very calm about it and tries to reconnect with her like, I'm not an evil man. I just, I've done some things.
I am not a crook.
She's basically just there just so later on in the movie, Sean Connery can't be a dick to Nicolas Cage like right at the final moments. Like otherwise, she's never seen again. I don't believe.
No.
Correct.
Yeah, like all of the cops come in and surround him. Nick Cage comes up to him and you think is going to be like, what the fuck was that? Why were you doing all that? You're going to be back in prison for the rest of your life. But really, he's just like, yeah, your father's been helping the FBI out on a very important matter. And it's time for him to come back.
Disregard all those angry policemen behind him, waiting for him just to, get out of eye shot so they could beat the shit out of him.
And
With
there's like
guns
40
drawn.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking what kills me though is Nicolas Cage's line after this.
Oh
Cut
my
the
god,
chit-chat.
it's so
A-hole.
that's so great because he's so just I don't want to call him juvenile. It's just like, he's not a tough guy in this movie, so he just doesn't have tough lines and shit like that just had me rolling.
57 paces through the septic system.
So something
Oh.
I want to bring up is how much this movie reminds me of other movies that each of these guys have been in. And really, like, it reminds me a lot of movies that Michael Bay himself has done too, although I don't necessarily have any blaring examples. But like that scene that we just had, that's gone in 60 seconds. We've got a couple of scenes coming up. Okay, Sean Connery wasn't in Temple of Doom, but there's a scene that goddamn reminds me of Temple of Doom. He's part of the Indiana Jones franchise. I'll count it. But we also get a lot of like national treasureisms. And that's just not what I was expecting at all from this movie.
I'd be super okay with your headcanon including this as a prequel to National Treasure.
It's kind of welcome in this because I didn't really know what we were getting into. And you get all of those little shoot-offs. I like it.
There you go. So after the FBI catches up to both of them, they're just like completely on board all of a sudden, even though Sean Connery made this huge stink. He's just like, all right, let's do this. And they go off to like Command Central somewhere. I'm just going to guessing somewhere in San Francisco.
I still think Huge Stink, which you just referred to it as, is really underselling what just happened. Like, he just wrecked several blocks of the San Francisco area and potentially injured an FBI officer, maybe killed an FBI officer. We never get back to that guy, at least not for a while. I don't know if he comes back.
Well, I mean, that little descriptor would just be a way for the media kind of to divert attention. Oh, you remember the big old stink in San Fran? Ugh, that was likely nothing.
Now, at Command Central, our boy fucking Hicks is there, and he's telling them that it's going to be a bug hunt, and you guys are coming with me.
Well, like, first, it's like they start going over the blueprints, and one guy's just like, yeah, Alcatraz has been destroyed and rebuilt so many times. The blueprints don't mean shit. That's why we need Sean Connery. He knows this place inside and out. Sean's just like, I'll tell you when we get there.
It's this kind of funny moment. Like, I guess it's played up as a joke. It's like, yeah, Sean Connery knows everything about this island. And he's like going through all these schematics and maps. He's like, what the fuck is this shit?
This hot dog on a stick wasn't there when I was there.
Sir, that's a corn dog. Can you get these at Wendy's?
I love Wendy's.
I have a penchant for the drive-thru there.
Corn dog dipped into a Frosty? That sounds like we might be onto something, actually.
There was a weird moment where Nicolas Cage is like, bring my girlfriend here, she's pregnant. And all I could think was, he wants her there, that way in case they get gassed, so does that preggo baby.
Ooh, multi-kill.
Yeah, like, at first he's like, yeah, just come see me in San Francisco. I've got a training exercise or whatever. He finds out it's not a training exercise. He calls back and is like, don't come to San Francisco. And she's just like, fuck you, bitch. I'm coming to San Francisco. You can't stop me. I'm a grown-ass woman.
And then Sean Connery barks at him.
Yeah.
Just out of respect to DMX.
Oh, nice.
Rough riders. Yes.
Just talking to himself. It's like that bit from Predator where like nobody's saying anything but him. He's just like talking to himself, setting the scene.
Hell yeah. Oh, but the Patriots call, and guess what? They want the cash. But it's too late because SEAL Team Nix is a go.
Yeah, and they're trying to buy more time. They're like, hey, we're having some issues with the deposit or the withdrawal. We need more time. We got most of it. We just need a little bit more time.
And Ed Harris is like, man, I can smell that bullshit from here. Give me that money. Click.
Yeah.
Now, the basically objective is to go in, deactivate these missiles, and eliminate the enemies if need be. Green flares equals success, while a mega needle into your chest equals whoops.
Whoops. Oh, Chopper Dave, we got uh-oh.
Uh-oh. That's such a good fucking episode of C-Lab.
Yeah, I must have missed that part because at the end I was just like, yeah, never mind. That's a spoiler. We'll get to it.
Oh, okay.
Fucking Sean Connery has this amazing moment to where he's like being alpha and asserting his dominance over Nicolas Cage's character. He's like, whose name is Godspeed or some shit like that. He's like, good smell. You're a bitch.
Yeah. That had me rolling. I thought that was going to be like a running gag through the rest of the movie. He'd just be like, hey, God smell. Ah, God schmack, huh?
Oh, no!
It's okay. You're doing the best that you can. You're doing the best that you ever did. Now go away!
Go away now.
Back! Oh, jeez. But we get like this G.I. Joe infiltration scene where they got the scuba water stuff. And it's so over the top and unnecessary.
It
is. It's so, what do you call it? Aggressively patriotic how they film these soldiers.
It's
like
very
rushing into this place.
Very
I don't know, man. Fucking stop all the downloading. Never mind.
Pork chop sandwiches.
But they're smash cutting around. They're trying to like wriggle their way into the island. They get to this like point of like no return, I guess. And for whatever reason, this entire time, the rock has been just powered by this gas fuel furnace that just belches fire and has these like comically large gears to get through.
Okay, Eric, at what point ever was Alcatraz a goddamn Castlevania level?
Dude, I don't know. Like, I was 4 seconds away from seeing Nick Cage find some wall chicken.
Yes! Just fucking smacking shit with a whip.
I guess it's like a test of honesty on Sean Connery's part because, you know, he has to break away from the team because, like, he memorized the timing of this mechanism, so he only has, like, one shot to roll through. And when he does, he's completely absent from everybody else.
Yeah, he has to barrel roll through this furnace that is blasting fire down. And yeah, this is exactly the kind of thing that you would see in a non-realistic video game. And he's like, yeah, I timed it 30 years ago. I hope it's still on the same timing. And, you know, he rolls through and you're just like, all right, well, he's gone. That's cool.
Yeah, even the guy he called a piece of shit, part of the higher-ups or whatever, he's like, damn it, he lied to us. I fucking knew it. He's a piece of garbage himself. And then, of course, the movie has to treat us to Sean Connery just like opening the door for the fellas, like, gentlemen, welcome to The Rock. And then the loudest fucking music you'll ever hear.
Dun 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 dun. Sorry, I was just going back into that Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, that's fine. I got it.
Beautiful.
Now, they get through and they show up at this little shower thing. He's like, 97 pieces to the shower. And they stick up this little camera thing, and it jiggles a fucking filament inside of a light bulb or something. Mm-hmm. And still Team Nix is busted.
Yeah, he pokes it up through like a little like sewer vent or whatever, but there's this motion sensor that just happens to be attached to that sewer vent. Because who thinks of that? I guess they did.
Get all these toys.
It's like one of those like little sensors from Dorothy and Twister. It's like just perfectly spherical, see-through, and like a bunch of gadgetry inside. And the movie gives us like a 4-second explanation why it's there, just like randomly in the beginning. It's like, oh yeah, these are the best motion trackers in the world. I'm Dr. Cox. I know what I'm talking about. I'm going to put it specifically here because the movie needs the movie.
Right.
And so, guess what? The fucking Patriot Marine guys, quote unquote, show up, and they got SEAL Team Nix pinned down. And let me tell you what, Michael fucking Hicks / Terminator / Blood Dragon gives one hell of a, we're a bunch of patriots and you're patriots too, now we ain't gotta do this.
If I could change, you could change.
Exactly. But the only thing that changes apparently is how sturdy the bonding agent was between some bricks, because one falls down into the shower and triggers everyone to start shooting in some very platoon-esque death scenes.
I can't believe an entire room full of fully trained soldiers get spooked by just like a piece of stone.
Speaking of stones, what I've got here today is from Stone Brewing Company. This is their delicious IPA, and I don't think I've actually had this one before. This one's been out for a while. It is tagged as gluten-reduced, citrusy lemon drop hops, tropical El Dorado hops, and it is 7.7% alcohol by volume. Yeah, this pours like a fairly normal IPA, kind of copper looking, not hazy at all. Good solid head. A lot of fruity aromas, fruitier than I expected. Apple, peach, maybe a little papaya, stuff like that. Nothing ultra citrusy. Smells really good.
Anything you can compare to for us laymen's who don't know all these hops, notes, and citrusy flavors?
Honestly, it's a fairly straightforward IPA, more on the West Coast style than anything else. So it is pretty well balanced. No haziness, no citrus, nothing like that. What I would probably compare it most to that's like in the main line is probably Sierra Nevada's Torpedo. It's not quite as resiny, hoppy, but it's definitely it's hoppy for sure, but it's got a little bit of more of those mellow fruit notes to it. Like I said, you've got apple and peach, things like that in there. It's just like a good, well-balanced, middle of the spectrum IPA. Pretty solid, to be honest with you.
Well, that's awesome. We got a little hoppy beer that's, frogs and fruit.
They're turning the friggin' frogs gay.
There it is.
Oh, there's another guy that I know from exactly one other role, and I forgot about him until now because I have him marked down as the thin penis guy.
Who's the poor asshole that gets that moniker?
I don't know his name, but I looked him up and I was like, where do I know that guy from? And why do I think he has a thin penis?
That's just like your thing now.
Yeah,
Your sixth sense.
I looked it up. I remember him from Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. He's like an FBI agent or a cop or something like that. And I don't remember that movie very well, but I remember him always going on about how, like, you know, he's got these problems. He's got an issue. He has a thin penis. It's not small. It's thin.
Ugh. Is he the dude that like winds up dead upside down in the ladder little thing?
Captain Man Bun?
No, I don't think so.
I'm talking about the guy that kind of looks like the fella from Early Edition.
I don't know what that is. His name, his actual actor's name is William Forsythe. He plays Ernest Paxton.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
In his IMDb picture, he looks pretty much just like John Malkovich.
Well, he'll just be Thin Penis Man.
Thin Penis Guy is what I have him written down on, as from here on.
Next time he comes on screen, he'll just be like, "Hey, it's your boy, Skinny Penis."
Yep.
Well, there won't be a next time because they all lose their gulags.
Yeah, they do. Kyle Reese and the Resistance were completely wiped out, so you have to write those fellas off.
Well, this guy, he's like one of the guys in the office, right? He's not like one of the soldiers. He's like one of the guys like, where's SEAL Team 6 or whoever they are, Special Forces? Where are they? Do we have any contact with them? Right?
Yeah, but
okay.
It's over, man. Game over.
Yeah.
Now,
anyway, so the only two left are going to be Nick Cage, Sean Connery, just like you expected it to be. So they have to team up to be, you know, Buddy Cop 1, Buddy Cop 2.
Now, did you notice, though, that it cuts away and they're like, oh, man, two people are alive, Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery. And they're like, but it's over. And then someone goes, but not for Mason. And then it cuts to Mason, which is Sean Connery's character. And he's like, I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah.
Oh,
he's straight up out. He's like, yep, mission is over. I don't care that we lost. Bye.
I love that little back and forth when Nick Cage has to call into command, like, hey, you know, Sean Connery's out of here. Like, what do I do? The guy's like, what do you got, a fucking water pistol? Fucking pull a gun on him. Tell him no.
Calls back 5 minutes later. I don't have a gun anymore.
5 minutes of radio silence later. Yeah, he's got both guns now.
It's kind of like along that same vibe as earlier when he's like, a-hole. He's like, freeze, sucker. Throw down.
Oh my god, the throw down thing. It's so bad.
The 90s were a heck of a time for movies having like really shitty lines and it squeezed in between like actual menacing like F-bombs. I don't know. You better get your fucking shit together, you mother freaker.
Oh man, so dubbed. They're like, man, how do we escape this whole R rating?
Cut out one right there.
No, this was R-rated.
Then why? Like, did I watch the television edit or something like that? Because it was almost just like Liar Liar, where he's like, I'm kicking my own butt.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you'll have a line that will just be like, yeah, you motherfuckers are full of shit. I'm gonna get your freaking butts.
Meanwhile, Sean Connery is saying, the gun is good. And they're sneaking through the pipes. And immediately, like a good soldier,
State Farm is there.
Yeah. Ed Harris is like, hey, Sergeant Man Bun, go flush the pipes. And they find our intrepid heroes instantly and cast a level 4 fireball, dealing 9d6 fire damage to everything in the pipe.
This is the Michael Bay that I know. Ridiculously large, nonsensical explosion just because.
And it hurts no one. This fireball is extravagant. And they just get like pushed down the pipes a little more like, I guess we should finish this movie, huh?
But fire can't get you if you're underwater.
Dude, it's ridiculous. And he's like, are you okay? He goes, yeah, I just want to find some rockets. Just
okay.
Yeah, that's what happens. And he's like, what? What does that even mean? And he just walks off and gives him a thumbs up and then smash cut to the morgue and such.
Yeah, at this point, Sean Connery's just like, all right, I'm down. Let's do it. Let's not let the city of San Francisco be completely annihilated. And Nick Cage says something about like, we can try our best or whatever, just the two of us. Sean Connery throws down this line that is, you can't see it, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm giving that chef's kiss. Just losers always cry about the best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
That is a cool line, but Nick Cage unfortunately has the bad opportunity to have the next line, and he's just like, yeah, well, my fiance was the prom queen. And Sean Connery's like, I don't give a fuck.
You're ruining it, god damn it. But it works because
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage becomes an instant murderer.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. And is this the morgue next or the whole cart scene?
It's the morgue with the
Okay.
him, not the rocket.
Yeah, there's like a gunfight around all these chemicals and a rocket, and a guy gets shot in the foot, and there's like this ridiculous
Oh,
Wilhelm
man.
scream.
Look, this is the point where the movie just turns into Sean Connery, the video game, and he's just like,
Yep.
look, I call this an environmental kill, and blows an AC thing off the roof and smushes a guy with it.
He had it coming. He had it coming.
Dude, the guy gets legitimately flattened. And Nick Cage is like, yep, that is the most horrific thing I've ever seen. Moving on.
We're
Throughout-
immediately treated to another one of those fucking Sean Connery bangers where like the dead corpse is twitching and Nicolas Cage is like, can you stop that? Like, is that normal?
Yeah.
Can you make him quit? And fucking Sean Connery's like, what do you want me to do? Kill him again?
That's definitely a solid line. But through this whole scene, I just keep thinking back to Fight Club. Like, they're shooting. There is an actual, like, firefight going on near this toxic gas that if one of these little balls or whatever gets broken at all, everyone in this room is dead. And I just keep thinking, you're shooting at your imaginary friend standing in front of 400 gallons of nitroglycerin.
Oh,
Yes.
for sure. Like, the movie, you know, that rocket was protected by plot armor. Don't you
For sure.
worry. And of course, like, Nick Cage being the expert on all this weaponry, he goes through this whole spiel about how awful this is and how delicate it is. And he hands, like, the little chain thing or whatever you want to call it, the anal beads over to Sean Connery. And he's legitimately frightened. And Nick Cage is just barking at him, just like, here you go, just hold this. Don't move! But hold it. Don't move! And he's just like, I don't know what the fuck to do.
Yeah, no doubt. I'd be frightened too. Like, you know, this guy's a chemical weapons expert handing you this. It's like a chandelier of noxious gas. Just here, hold this gently. Don't fucking move!
Oh, that poor old man.
One of my favorite things about this film is about to happen. Again, like you said, Eric, it's a video game. We've already brought Castlevania into this. We brought environmental kills into this.
Is
What's
this
next?
DuckTales?
Oh, duh. No, sir. It's Donkey Kong minecart level.
Damn it. That's exactly what Coleman said. Coleman said Donkey Kong Country. I went with DuckTales.
Woo! Yeah. And who's there to fucking play Donkey Kong with our heroes? The dude from Surviving the Game, Mr. Asman Halerman.
I was really hoping it would be Short Round.
Nah, they gotta
No.
get rid of Dr. Cox because his contract's about to run out. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like before he was in Scrubs, he was just contracted for like half a movie shoot because he's never in a movie the entire time.
Yeah,
what do you
like,
do? I come in and I get killed.
he was in Office Space. He was one of the Bobs in Office Space, but like his entire shooting could have been done in like 3 hours of that movie.
Yeah, like a day of shooting, enough to where like he can act, get his paycheck, and hit the craft table pretty hard.
I am really glad that, you know, he got his foot in where it belongs, and that was Scrubs.
Speaking of his foot, they fucking spray with lighter fluid and catch the man on fire. So not only has he not survived the game, but he has not survived The Rock either.
Goodness, like how did he not look down at that? I know the movie's got a movie, but like Sean Connery is not playing the stealth card any harder than anybody else.
No. And it's ridiculous because he just jumps into a minecart and the guy's like, oh no, you burned up my buddy. Let me throw a grenade at you. And he tosses it back just in time for Minecart 2 Electric Boogaloo Escape because the explosion projects the fucking minecart. It's like, what the fuck is even going on here?
I don't know.
It's a video game. That's how you have to get from one place to another, obviously.
They're just a bunch of stormtroopers. Like, these carts are like 10 feet apart, and they're rattling off I don't know how many rounds, and they're just like completely missing Nick Cage. Not even really hiding in the cart. He's like rolling around because he's scared and shit, and there's just nothing. Not a one.
By the way, have you guys noticed that in movies, grenades take exactly long enough to detonate as it takes for you to throw it and for someone to throw it back?
Die Hard
Die
2 calls and says, fuck you.
Yep. Die Hard 2, the grenade gets thrown in. Bruce Willis has enough time to run to the cockpit, sit down, strap himself in, look around, pull a lever, eject, then an explosion. It's like fucking 40 seconds.
Spoiler alert on
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
I'm tired of these Monday to Friday snakes on this monkey fighting plane.
Well, that's good because Mason is extraordinary. And Nicolas Cage kills his first man as he tries to strangle Mason. And we get another good line that I made up for Sean Connery. Nicolas Cage does, in fact, ask the question, how do you do this? And Sean Connery turns around, gives some bullshit rebuttal, which could have been beautiful. So I wrote his rebuttal for him. How do you do this? I'm James Bond.
That's it. That's not even a rebuttal. Just like, I'm Bond, you fool. James Bond.
But this section through here is actually just like filled with lines that are kind of good and kind of just like, okay, you're 14 and this is deep. Like,
oh, yeah. That's Michael Bay in a nutshell, though.
That's true. Like, patriotism is the virtue of the vicious.
And he gets cold cocked in the back of the head. He's like, thank you for proving my point.
Like, they're asking him, like, you know, how do you know this? I have great knowledge of this facility. I was once a guest here. Terrible turn down service.
Oh, man. Okay, so they get caught moments after this, or at least in the process of getting caught. Sean Connery's like, I'll walk the Green Mile and distract them while you go and get the last rocket. And fucking Nicolas Cage is sitting there like, doodly doodly doodly, getting the rocket. And these guys come down like fucking Tobey Maguire Spider-Man on him.
Yeah, like, what the fuck? How did they know that he was there? Like, I didn't understand that. Like, he totally wiped out the team that was, like, after them, and, like, he's in this completely other part of the compound, and they just, like you described, like, Spider-Man trying to get a little smooch off of him.
Their sneak is level 100. Yeah, but, you know, this would be the end of the movie if, I don't know, a movie's got a movie, he wants you alive, but I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy.
Oh, yes. I quote this all the time because it's fucking atrocious. And then, like, it hard cuts to Sean Connery and Nick Cage in one of the cells in Alcatraz, you know, just to fucking get rid of him. And I guess he got bullied a little too hard. So he's just laying there in his bunk. He's like, I'll take pleasure in gutting you, boy. And just, like, over and over and over, like, it's just like, you know, what does he mean by this? Was he, like, some kind of dick as a kid or something? This is kind of like sociological nonsense. And Sean Connery's like, shut the fuck up, I'm trying to escape.
Just for 7 hours, pissed.
And this is about time the U.S. military actually just gives up on this mission and is like, fuck it, forget the hostages, you know, 81 deaths, that's nothing. We'll save a million or 2 million or however many it is by not letting them bomb San Francisco.
I mean, it's pretty spot on. And they make it outside, and there's a really fucking good bit right here, again, from Sean Connery, where Nicolas Cage is like, we gotta save the people! Save the whales! And fucking Sean Connery's like, speed walking away, looking around all antsy. He's like, some sniper's gonna get his ass.
Yeah. But, you know, it doesn't last very long, because, you know, there's still like 20 minutes of the movie left, so of course he's just like, you know what, I can't fucking swim to shore anyway, I guess I'm on board, pal.
Yeah, the last time I did this, I was 25, now I'm 60, and I'm tired.
Yeah. And fucking Nicolas Cage, of course, in that small moment that they're apart, gets captured again, but Sean Connery's there to save the day by snapping a man's neck.
Yeah, otherwise, again, the movie would have been over right here.
You know. But then again, Sean Connery has the strength to break a man's neck, and that's just never brought up again.
Nope, not once.
So, the actual plan, they've got 2 rockets left. The first one, they've decided, you know, it's time to fire. They're going to shoot at this fucking 49ers football game because they hate the Niners. They are through and through Oakland Raiders fans. Raider Nation, am I right?
Thought they were rooting for the Buccaneers.
That sounds about right. Tom Brady is a cheater.
Sponsor us. I guess Ed Harris is a big fan because he changes trajectory of the rocket, so just crash into the water, which makes it okay. I guess that's never explained, but you know what?
Okay, but that's like all that poison gas in liquid form in the water. Like,
Who was
isn't it gonna
thinking
kill
of the dolphin?
everything in the water?
I guess they'll just have to change the slogan to Captain D's No Thanks. I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just like drifts over to Japan, and once it gets halfway over, they just don't care anymore.
Oh.
It isn't halfway just Hawaii.
Now, Ed Harris, at this point, they're like, hey, something's going on. What are you doing here? And him and fucking his bestie are like, I guess we picked the wrong side. You guys are just crazy. And they have a big shootout. Like, all the quote-unquote patriots kill one another.
Yeah, the Marines have like a little internal tussle, and we really try and figure out exactly whose side each one of them is on. Like, Candyman wants that paper.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I guess it's fairly clear through the movie that Ed Harris wasn't really going to go through it. He was just using this as a bargaining chip or whatever. But as you guys pointed out earlier, like, he had no problem killing about a dozen Marines just to get those rockets to begin with. So, whatever. Doesn't matter.
He does try and lay down this little thought process. He's like, hey, they don't know that we missed on purpose. And one of the guys is just like, great, we're not gutless. We're just incompetent. That's wonderful.
Yeah. I feel like he should have played this a little smarter. I know the movie didn't end up that way, but like he basically just told these fellas like, hey, there is no money. It was all a lie. Haha, I got you good. Like, how do you think that would turn out?
Well, it turned out exactly how you thought it would. Dead Harris.
Oh, good old shootout at the Alcatraz Corral.
I'm so happy you said that, Eric, because I literally have Wyatt and the boys shoot each other. No.
That's all it is. It's just friendly fire. The scene.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Nick Cage is over there, like, trying to stand up on his own. I'm your Huckleberry.
Oh, man.
A-hole.
Fucking Candyman and Vampire's Kiss battle at the last rocket. And they talk about some Rocket Man, and he shoots Candyman bitch in the chest with a rocket.
Yeah, this line, man. He's like...
The line idea, not to interrupt, the idea of the line is flawless, but the delivery just, like, it doesn't land anywhere, just like that rocket.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. Nick Cage is talking to Candyman. Let's talk music. You like the Elton John song, Rocket Man?
I don't like that soft shit.
I only ask because it's you. You're the Rocket Man. And that gives me big True Lies vibes.
Just how frail the delivery was from Nick Cage just made it just like, not awkward. It was just like, nerd.
Yeah, exactly.
He could have even gave it like a little Shatner flair. Rocket Man. Fucking shot him with it. Oh, but one of those little green balls is rolling. It's supposed to be a really intense scene. And he comes under machine gun fire. One ball equals one prayer.
I don't know. The thing that I want to point out is after Mr. Rocket Man, the Candyman, got shot, he got turned himself into a lollipop as he is impaled on, like, a piece of rebar or something?
It's like an old bit of fence that had just been dilapidated or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just, Sean Connery takes a look, like, wow, he's just like one of those corn dogs I hear about.
We talked about one of the gas balls just rolling around and Sean Connery.
It's whatever. And I hate to bring that up over and over, but that's the only way this movie survives. It's just like, shrug it off. Because, like, those little balls, those beads or whatever you want to call them, through this entire movie, Nick Cage, of course, he just hammers it in your head how sensitive these are. Like, the smallest thing will set them off and, kill a billion people. And this thing's like rolling down his body, bouncing off his boot, bouncing off like the lighthouse floor and everything. And he makes a dive for it, and he clenches it in his hand before it falls off and murders it. Like, so.
What do you call the guy on the set who does like the sound, like
the
making
Foley
guy? Yeah, I want to give credit right here to the Foley guy on this because like the sound makes it feel so much more delicate than they actually look. They look like just like little glass balls, whatever, like, but when you actually hear them, it sounds like they could break just by looking at them.
Oh no, it's the kind of request like the sound guy didn't even understand because Michael Bay's so bombastic and he just like kicks down the doors like, I need this to sound dainty.
Yeah, these glass balls are fucking dainty as hell. If Adele comes to Alcatraz, we are dead.
You know who else is dead? The fucking
Everybody.
daddy issue guy that fought Sean Connery. He gets choked with the chain, and then fucking big jawline guy looking like Blade from Puppet Master gets a goddamn ball shoved in his mouth.
Man,
Yeah, okay.
it's always the dudes who have faces too big for their head. They're always the bad guy.
Yeah, he's got a Quagmire chin.
God, man.
Yeah, so he gets this ball shoved in his mouth and then he gets punched in the face. So he just spews this liquid gas pretty much right in the air in front of Nick Cage.
Yeah.
Okay,
and-
somebody explain the rest of this for me. How does Nick Cage not just fucking die right there?
The needle's filled with plot armor. Next scene.
Yes. It is filled with the most fucking potent plot armor I've ever seen in my life because he goes outside in a blatant platoon rip holding a green flare as a thermite bomb is dropped 20 feet from him and he just goes woo, out into the ocean.
Yeah,
Like,
he doesn't himself get blown up, but he is shot out into the water or something as he's like holding these green flares in this Jesus Christ pose out there.
And for the first time since they got there, he's off the rock.
Unlike Whitney Houston.
Oh.
Damn, dude.
Oh, but you know who didn't make it? Sean Connery. He was quote unquote vaporized.
DMX one day sober.
Oh no.
Oh, is he dead? Did he
No,
die?
not yet. No. Like I think he's off of life support, but he's in like that vegetative state. Anyway, yeah, he's just like brain dead or something.
Great.
Sean
But
Connery
anyway,
is dead, and he's like, "Hey, Sean Connery, you run away. You've been vaporized." And Sean Connery goes, "I love you. No homo."
and then he gets a note, and he unfolds it, and it says, "Extra homo."
All the homo.
Yeah, Nick Cage is basically just like, hey, I'm gonna tell everybody that you're dead. Just like use the scuba gear to like escape and maybe go see your daughter. And there's some clothes back in my hotel room number 27. Take the $200 too. I don't know why I'm being so nice to you, but yeah, just go be a thing.
That's so descriptive. I was just gonna say he gets on one subway train and then on another subway train coming back the same way, and no one knows.
And I guess the little trade-off of friendship, Nick Cage gets that little note, and it's the location of that little microfilm that Sean Connery had hidden like 30 years previously. And the movie just ends a la Raising Arizona.
It's Raising Arizona 2. Pew Jewel.
It definitely, like, at this point has like strong Raising Arizona vibes because they're in the middle of this church in Kansas, and I guess it was like in a pew or something hidden, and like they run out, or he runs out of the church, and he's getting chased by the pastor or the priest or whatever, and he's like, "Let's get out of here." Hey, you want to know who really killed JFK?
Hey, you want to know who's turned all those frickin' frogs gay?
It's the
Man.
liberals.
You know what would have been the best? If they would have jumped inside that little VW bug, and as it drove away, it would have been like, wee! You know, just started up that yodel from fucking Raising Arizona. That'd been
Oh,
flawless.
100%. And that's it. That's The Rock. Now, as a whole, I think this movie is just like fucking ridiculous and just like downright stupid, but it's just fun. Nick Cage and Sean Connery are just a blast, and literally the only glue that holds this movie together. It's something about their charm, and even that's like the movie really wants Nicolas Cage to just fire off the worst lines imaginable. That doesn't matter. They're just having a good time, so I'm having a good time.
Honestly, I don't even think it's Nick Cage and Sean Connery. I think it's just Sean Connery that holds this together, to be honest. It is ridiculous. It is also fun. I don't think this is a great film, but I enjoyed my time watching it for the most part. It's not the best thing that I ever saw, but it's not the worst either. Yeah, it's fine. It's fun.
I have never seen so many big names put in such lackluster performances, nor
Ooh.
have I seen so many big names put in such good performances in such a lackluster movie. This film is fun. If you're coming for anything more than fun, you wrong movie. Sean
Wrong
Connery
movie.
100% carries the weight of this film on his shoulders. Nicolas Cage is rarely outshined, but fucking Sean Connery just stunts him at every turn.
There you have it. That's The Rock. If you have any strong feelings about the movie or the show, leave it in the comment section below.
Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button too. Hit the little bell-shaped icon right down there at the bottom. That way you know next time we've got another one of these brewing up.
Follow us on all of our social media. We got that Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit. We're on the YouTube. We're on the Apple. We're on the Spotify. Thanks to Anchor. So, wow, guys, there's no reason you're not listening. So, fucking do it. If you don't,
He's
Go
going to
ahead.
take real pleasure in gutting you, boy.